Welcome to the Late Life Lesbian. In this video, I want to share with you a story from my own stepson about the positive impact that coming out later in life can actually have on kids. I know that when realizing your true sexuality later in life and coming out later in life, especially when you have kids, there can be a lot of fear and worry and concern about how that's going to impact them and what your kid is even going to think about your sexuality. So, in this video, I just wanted to share a story of something that happened with my stepson to kind of give you an idea of the positive impact this whole experience can actually have. Okay, and if you're new here, my name is Emily Better. I'm a late life lesbian myself. I came out later in life after being married to a man for 11 years and having a son with him. And I'm now married to a woman who also went through this. And on this channel, I share supports and resources to help other women navigate this journey. And also, real quick, just before we dive in, I just want to let you know that if you are on this journey and you are struggling and feeling really alone, I run both the Late Life Lesbian community and offer some one-on-one services. And there are links below this video with more information on those if you're wanting some help and support as you go through this. Okay, so let me jump into this story. So, as I mentioned, this is something that happened with my stepson. And I also just mentioned just a second ago that I am also married to a woman who went through this journey of coming out later in life. Now, for both of us, our kids were younger when this happened. They're currently 11, 10, and 8. And when this happened, for me, my son was 5 years old. And for my wife, I think her kids were like 3 and 1 or 4 and 2. So they were all pretty young. I know that that could be a huge fear that people think, yo, what are my kids going to think? But with young kids, a lot of times they grow up just with this being the norm. And that's what the story is going to show you. Okay, so my wife has been an assistant coach for the high school volleyball team, and she will often go up and watch games and stuff. And so she had taken her daughter, and I was going to come up later with her son, my stepson. And we decided to stop and get some food, and we were going to take it up to the game, but we ended up eating it in the car because I told him, I was just like, well, yeah, I don't know if they're going to, stop me and not let food in. And so I was like, and we'll actually probably try to go through another door. Being honest, I was like, because I also didn't want to stop and be charged for the game when I was there just to go see, my wife and bring the kids up. So I was kind of explaining this to him, but also ended up saying something along the lines of, well, if I even just told the person at the front that I was there to see my wife, it would probably kind of confuse them, or they might be kind of taken back by that and just let me go in any way as they processed it. And he was like, well, why would that matter? And if for me, I'm sitting here thinking, because most people our age, and even though it's becoming more widely accepted, that a lot of people, as if I'm walking up and I say, I'm here to see my wife, it still often kind of takes them a minute to process. But for my stepson, he just couldn't wrap his mind around that really. He was just in the mindset of like, well, yeah, that's your wife. Why is that a big deal? Because this is what he knows. He doesn't view it really as sexuality. It's just that his mom and I are two women who are married, and that's a norm for him. And so that hit me because it was just another example of the positive impact coming out later in life can have. For our kids, we have really normalized sexuality and same-sex marriage as just being sort of a normal, like a no big deal. And so by going through this, we are now creating a next generation that is not going to have sort of the stigma or the questions or possibly view same-sex marriage as lesser than or an abnormality or things like that. We're normalizing it for them. And so I just thought this was a really powerful example to show you how, when you do come out later in life and embrace your sexuality, the change and impact it can have on the next generation coming up, on the change and the impact it can have for your kids. And I don't know about you, but for me, it's just my goal that same-sex marriage and everything is just, again, like a norm. It's no big deal. I can say my wife and people don't think twice about it. It's just oh, okay, you have a wife, no big deal. And so I feel like the more that we can do things like this, to normalize this is another option of marriage and life partnership, then just how other generations are going to adopt that, and it will actually just become no big deal. So if you are on this journey and you are going through this and struggling with the impact that it might have on kids, yes, divorce and change and separation, all of that, it affects everybody and there will be those effects. But when it comes to your sexuality, being your true self can truly make such a profound difference and create a lasting change. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If you are looking for some support or some guidance while you're on this journey, I run both the Late Life Lesbian community and I offer some one-on-one services to help you personally. So there are links below this video if you'd like more information on that. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.